I stress the skill of thinking because in order to master yourself, you have to take what's being taught and apply it to your life. Apply it to your circumstances, right? To the reality you created thus far, right? It's impossible to look at someone and say, I want to live exactly how they live. Because you don't know the person. You don't know how they got in the situation they got in. You don't know how they're maintaining it. And you don't know what they had to go through to get to the place that they're in. You don't know what they're going through to remain there. Be careful what you ask for. And with a lot of women, they don't want to think. What many of you want is examples. You want to know exactly what I do and how I do it. That's why you guys want a day in a life with me, and you want to know about how someone asked me about a framework for relationships. They want to know everything I did with my ex-boyfriend. How did things work? Because people don't possess the skill of thinking. But be very careful what you're asking for. Because to ask for someone else's life is to ask for everything that they've experienced to get to the place that they're in, and everything that they will experience, right? My spiritual mother used to say to me, they know your glory. They don't know your story, right? And I've shared things here and there about my life. And I don't share as much, and I won't, because women don't know what to do with information. And as soon as they get angry, they weaponize that information. Things that have been said about me by women is disgusting. Right? So I won't ever share the little bit that I did share, which it's nothing that I am ashamed of or anything like that. But because women don't know what to do with information, and women don't know how to control themselves, they don't know how to think, there will be no more sharing. The point is, you can't look at me, you can't look at the messenger and want to live how they live. You got to take the message. Be mindful of the messenger. What I'm not going to do is feed women what women have been fed and what makes women feel good. Because the reality is, you have to create your feel good. Life is just not going to give you things. That's not how reality works. But women like to believe that. That's why many of you hang on to the hope that you'll be the exception to the rule of life. And that's never going to happen, right? And in order to create a desirable life, you have to accept your circumstances. You have to accept your decisions, your choices, the results, your failures, your successes. All of these things have to be taken into consideration when you are creating a life for yourself. No one is going to give you a soft life. Whatever this soft life is, which is just a great quality of life, right? No man gives that to you. Nobody gives that to you. You create that. You may have connections to people that can support you in creating a quality of life for yourself. But as an adult, you are not exempt from universal law, right? So I don't care who you are attached to. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care who you're connected to. You still have to participate in your life. If you don't control your life, someone else will. When people are trying to sell you something, they're going to make it look appealing, right? And anyone who studies human behavior, studies women, studies men, you understand what they need to sell them a thing, whatever the thing is, right? In order to sell women things, you have to sell women illusion and delusion. You have to lie to women, right? Sprinkle a little bit of truth in there, but ultimately, tell women what they want to hear. I'm not going to do that, right? So I'm not going to feed you hope about maybe, you know, you'll be the exception. Maybe a man won't have his nature when it comes to you, won't, you know, possess his nature when it comes to you. Maybe the world will be nice to you. If you think positive enough, right? When this whole be delusional trend was out, that shit was pissing me off because real life is outside, right? And being delusional gets you hurt. Being delusional, making pretend. This is what women do, right? Because women are children. I said on Facebook the other day, why is it that, you know, when I talk about mastering yourself and doing what you need to do, women talk about boss bitches. What is a boss bitch? Why do you have to get into character to be an adult? Or main character energy? Why is it always women pretending instead of just being who they are, who they're supposed to be? Right? I'm not a boss bitch. I'm not in my main character or whatever the fuck y'all be talking about. It's stupid. I'm an adult handling my business. Right? Men don't do that. Men don't call themselves a boss man or whatever, a main character. They're just men. Right? And so women pretend a lot. I'm not going to sell you that. And so a lot of what I say is not appealing to women. But what is what they think my results are because of how I look, because of how they feel when they look at me, because of how they think men respond to me, right? Always remember, the messenger is trying to convey a message. You gotta take that into consideration, right? You have really pretty women selling you a certain lifestyle and aesthetic, especially when it comes to men, right? You want a certain kind of man, you want a rich man, you just have to do this, you have to be this. Always keep in mind and this is a truth, a hard truth. Pretty women get treated differently. So their results are most likely their results because they're attractive. Now be honest with yourself. If you saw an unattractive woman telling you, well, all you have to do is this to get a man and do that to get a man, and this is what I do. If she was not attractive, you would not believe her. Right? Human nature, how we are wired, is very primitive. It takes work, conscious effort to ascend out of that primitive behavior. However, our nature is still what it is. As humans, we're still attracted to what's attractive, right? Beauty standard or not, we know what's attractive. Everything is not, we've been conditioned by the white man. We know what's fucking pretty and what's not. We know what's handsome and what's not. So when you are listening to really pretty women with the best bodies and all these things, they're selling you something, but you don't know the back end of that. You don't know what they're dealing with to get that. And also, take into consideration looks, especially when women are selling you things like aesthetic, you know, how to get men and how to do these things. Looks and attractiveness play a big part in that. A lot of you know, if an unattractive woman was trying to sell you that, you would more likely not believe her. Right? Because the messenger doesn't look the part. Even when the messenger looks the part, you don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. But she looks the part, and you would more likely listen to her. Right? You can take the message, but be mindful of the messenger and be realistic about the messenger. I don't sell fantasies. I don't sell, hope. My message, my teaching is self-mastery. And I teach how I live. So I'm not going to teach you how to get men because that's not what I'm doing. I'm going to teach how to create a desirable quality of life for yourself. Right? As much as y'all want to know my lip combination and all this stuff, that matters. Yes. I'm still a girl. You're still a girl. You want to be pretty. But the thing is, how I live, this is a part of it, but it's not what's moving it. Right? My quality of life has been created by decisions that I made years ago, and I'm currently maintaining it. Right? Because I knew what I wanted to, how I wanted to live. And so I made conscious effort, I was intentional with my life. So today, I can live a certain way. And it's a great quality of life for me. Right? But you don't know everything I've been through to get to this point. It wasn't always like this for me. Right? I know people like to believe that pretty women just have an easy life and, men are just throwing things at them, and nah. I work. I've been working all my life, right? So I'm not going to sell you anything other than work. So when I talk about, doing what's necessary to create a desirable life, I talk about self-mastery. I talk about competition, which is extremely difficult for women to grasp because women don't actively participate in life. I actively participate in life. I actively work to get where I need to be in life. And it's like it's impossible for people to believe that. I've seen people talk about me on blogs how there's a man behind the scenes taking care of me. It's hard for people to believe because I don't look like struggle. Now, this is the messenger, right? Listen to the message. I'm not struggling. And that's because of decisions that I made 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I can compete in life. I could go and go and go. I'm always on. I talk about that all the time, which is 6:10 in the morning. I've been up since 3 a.m. This is how I am. Why? Because I created my life to have this kind of luxury. I did not want more children, so I did not have more children. Right? That was very clear anytime I was with a man. I know that I wasn't going to trade myself for luxuries. I wasn't going to trade myself with a man for luxuries. So I had to create the luxuries myself. Right? Time is on my side. I'm time rich because I don't have a lot of baggage or burdens or people living off of me or responsibilities. I don't have a lot of the issues women have with creating a desirable life, right? And yet I'm delivering a message for you to create that. So you got to take what I give you and make it your own. I don't live a life I need a vacation from. I don't have to take spa days. I don't have to set time apart for me to gather myself because I'm stressed out and burnt. I don't live like that because I intentionally created my circumstances to not have to live like that. So I knew I wasn't having more kids. I poured a lot into my daughter. I remember staying up late doing homework. My daughter was in college prep programs since she was a child. Dance, all these things, piano, all of these extracurricular activities. I was always running around with my daughter. That's the type of mother I was. I was not going to do that 2, 3, 4 times over. I knew what I had the experience. I had the experience of being a wife. and a mother, and a stay-at-home mom for a little while. I know what that's like. And you can have all the help in the world. You're still the mother. There's still a lot that comes with that, right? My ex-husband was very hands-on with my daughter. I wasn't doing this by myself. However, I'm still the mother, right? So many of you have multiple children. You can't implement my lifestyle because you don't have that luxury to just do what you want to do. I can pick up and go wherever I want to go when I want to do it. I don't have to check in with nobody. I don't have to find a babysitter, right? I just take a couple of bathing suits, put them in my Dior book tote, and go on about my business, right? I could do that. So I don't have to make time to do that. I don't have to make arrangements to do that so that people can hold my responsibilities down while I take care of myself. So again, my message is to create a quality of life, right? A great quality of life with self-mastery. But the messenger doesn't have the same circumstances as you. So it's easy for me to do that. I'm not sleep deprived and all these things. I don't suffer the things women suffer because of decisions that I made 10, 15, 20 years ago that I was adamant about upholding. So someone asked me, do I take vacation in the summer, right? That's when most people go on vacations. And I said, I don't have to do that. That's for people with children in school. That's for people with spouses. That's, I don't have to coordinate with nobody to take a vacation. I don't have to do any of those things. So when people are, tending to children and family and things, and I don't have to do all of that. That comes with a cost though, right? Everything comes as a trade-off for everything, right? So you got to be mindful of who you want to imitate. You got to be very mindful of that because you don't know what I experienced, what I had to experience to get to this point. It sounds good. I do what I want to do when I want to do it within reason, right? I'm not reckless. I don't party. I don't do all of these things. This is why I don't look burnt out, right? So there's a lot of things that I have the luxury of doing that a lot of you don't. So knowing about me is not going to support you in your life. If you have kids, the kids are already here. And it's not about not having kids, because a lot of women say, oh, I ain't having no kids. You can have kids and have help and may be able to have certain luxuries. Right? So it's not about not having kids and not getting married. Like, that's not the solution. A lot of you are running away from responsibilities that a lot of you really want. A lot of you want that. Let's be realistic, right? I'm not running away from responsibilities. I've experienced it and I know I don't want it. I would rather this, right? Where I'm well rested, well fed, right? I have my own money, right? My skin is clear, right? I do what I want to do, right? I'm at peace. And people ask me things like, how was your weekend? Or people are like, happy Friday. They're so happy to get away from their responsibilities of work and things. I don't know what that's like. I don't have to wait till Friday to rest. If I want to lay down on Tuesday and take a nap at 4:30, I could do that. Right? I don't have to look forward to the weekend. If I want to go somewhere, I do it now. I don't got to wait for a babysitter. I don't have to do a lot of the things that y'all do. So my life and how I do things is, we're not the same person. So you got to be able to think. Take the messages I'm giving you, the teachings I'm giving you, and apply it to your life in the ways that you can, within reason. And that's for anybody delivering a message and selling you things. People are always going to make things look good. But is it in alignment with your current circumstances? You got kids, you don't got kids. You don't have no money, you have money, right? You have a man, you don't have a man. Whatever it is, you got a sick mother, you don't have a sick mother. Whatever it is, You have special needs people in your family, your kids. You have to think about your circumstances because you can't escape that. You can't escape what you created. You can change it, you can pivot, but it's there. You have to deal with that reality and try to implement other things in your life. I understand this. This is why I don't feed women fluff. Right? I don't give you hope. Hope is for losers, right? You can create your life. You don't got to hope for something else. So as a messenger, right, who delivers a message, you got to be mindful of your circumstances, what this person that's teaching you has experienced, what they're currently experiencing, right? What got them to this place, right? People want to know, well, how did you do this? Or what did you do? It doesn't matter because we don't have the same life. It doesn't matter. I can be inspirational, right? I had my daughter at 14. I still graduated, right? I got a college degree and all of these things. I still did all of that, right? But we're not the same person. We don't have the same life. We don't have the same people in our lives. We don't have a lot of things. And it really doesn't matter because your life is not going to be a replica of mine. So you got to take what I'm delivering to you and make it work for you. This is why you have to think. This is why I don't take on a lot of women as mentees because a lot of women just don't think. What you want is for me to tell you what to do and how to do it. I'm not a handler. I can be, but it's too much work and I would charge you for it. Maybe one day I may consider it, because a lot of women need handlers. That's why I say a lot of you you belong in a house under the covering of a man. You need to be inside. But until that point, I'm here for thinkers only. Everyone is not the same. Women like to think that. Well, if I just wear the right lipstick, then things will change for me. If I get my waist snatched, maybe things will work out for me. Certain shit. Like, that's not life. You got to be able to think and say, this is what she's teaching. This is what I'm currently experiencing. How can I fit this in my current circumstances until I can do better? Right? You have to be able to think for yourself. I am not here to tell you what to do or how to do it. I'm not here to show you my life. My life is not being sold. I'm not an influencer. I'm a teacher. I'm a healer. I'm a mother. Right? So thinking is a skill that must be developed. We're all born with a brain, but we all don't know how to use it.